Welcome to CemcalPro video tutorial. In today's tutorial, we will discuss how to optimize fuel for clinker production. So far, you have learned how to do raw mix design for clinker production. Today, I will show you how to design a raw mix by optimizing the fuel. First, go to Smart Mix Design and select Raw Mix Optimization for launching Raw Mix Optimization module. In this module, you can see there are 4 sections. First section is for setting. Second section is for raw materials. Third section is for set limit, and fourth section is for results. On launch, only setting section will be active and others will be inactive. In the settings section, you need to give the basic input for the optimizer. Raw materials section is an optional section. This will be populated with saved raw materials. If you want to change your database, you can do that from here instead of going back to database and editing it. Third section, that is set limit, is most important, where you have to give desired limits of different parameters and run the calculation. And finally, the last section is to show the result and several post-processing options. Let us see how to set parameters in setting. First, select the desired raw material from the saved raw material list. In another video, I have shown how to save new raw material. If you have not seen it, please see the tutorial video first. I will also put a link of video. Here, we will choose demo data, which we have saved in our previous tutorial. For raw mix optimization, we have chosen raw mix from the drop-down menu. For clinker optimization, we have chosen clinker optimization. And for fuel optimization, you have to choose this fuel optimization module. Next, select optimization option. Here you have to choose whether you want to design raw mix or clinker or fuel. Based on your selection, the calculation options will appear here. If you want to optimize raw meal based on its factors, such as LSF, silica modulus, and alumina modulus, you have to select raw mix optimization. Then from calculation option, you have to select factor raw mix. If you want to optimize raw mix based on the clinker parameters, you have to select clinker optimization. Then from calculation options, you have to select option as per your requirement. If I want to select multiple calculation option, such as phases per Bogue and oxide, that is also possible. In that case, you have to select both the options here. In clinker optimization, effective fuel will be considered in phase calculation, but fuel will be fixed as you have entered in raw mix database. In this tutorial, we will show how to optimize fuel. So, select fuel optimization in optimization option. Now I would like to design or optimize existing raw mix by controlling clinker phases as per Bogue calculation and MgO% in clinker. As usual, we want to check the Bogue equations and oxides. This is our current requirement. Based on your requirement, you can choose the options. Include raw material is required when you want to modify the limit of all the raw materials in set limit page. Remember, you have already given lower and upper limit of all the raw materials while saving the raw mix data. By default, the optimizer will consider the limit, but it will not appear in limit table. But if you select yes and include raw material, then you will see raw materials list in set limit table. In that case, this limit option will overrule the lower and upper limit of raw mix data. In this example, I will select yes here. In solver option, you will have option of range, mixed, and fix. Based on your selection, the set limit option will change. Please select range if you just want to give lower and upper limit as parameter. Select mixed if you want to do multi-objective optimization, and select fixed if you want to have selected phase clinker XRD in calculation option. Here I will select range, because this is preferred by most of the users. For the option, want to optimize cost, we will select no. If we want to predict cost of unknown raw materials, we have to choose yes. Then, click on Show. This will redirect to Set Limit page. Now you can see the raw material and set limit section is visible. In raw materials section, you can see the saved raw mix is visible. Please note, if you modify the raw material here, and if there is no error, it will be considered while optimizing raw mix even if you don't save it. In our input raw materials, we have 2 fuels. You can add as many fuels as possible. There is no limit to the number of fuels you can put. Let us come to Set Limit section. Now you can see all the oxides, phases, raw materials, and fuel names are visible in this table. In Settings section, if you select Include Raw Materials option No, then the raw materials will not appear here. And by default, the limits given in Raw Materials database will be effective. In this tutorial, we will minimize the price by put limit on C3S, C2S, C3A, liquid phase, and MGO. To minimize cost, from Objective menu, select Minimize and select Price per metric ton. By default, Advanced Solutions Search will be normal. Sometime for complex calculation, refined calculation might give better result. But normally it takes more time to solve. I will suggest to keep it normal. But for final calculation, select higher refinement, such as Refine 2 or Refine 3. For diagnosis option, if you select No, this not diagnosis if the optimization is not successful based on your limit. If you select single parameter, it will be quick diagnosis, but if only one parameter is out of limit, it will be able to detect. But if you think that multiple parameters are out of limit, you can select multiple parameters. There is one more option, which is Optimize Fuel Only. Here we have 2 options. If we keep the option No, while optimizing, along with the percentage of fuel, the percentage of raw materials will also change. But if you select Optimize Fuel Only Yes, then only the fuel percentage will vary, while the raw mill will remain the same. First, I will set it to No, so the raw mill and fuel percentage both will vary to achieve this condition. Now, let's see the limit table carefully. The first row shows current values of the parameters based on your input parameters. For each parameter, we have option to choose active or drop. And for raw materials, we have option of active, drop, and exclude. If we select active, the lower and upper limit will be effective. If we select drop, then in case of raw material, the lower and upper limit given in raw material will be effective. But in case of other parameters, such as oxides or phase, if we keep it drop, it will remove restriction from this parameter. That means it can be any value from 0 to 100. For raw materials, if we select exclude, it will exclude the raw material in optimized raw mix. That means the percentage of this raw materials will be 0. Also note that if you have selected one parameter in objective, then the given limit for the parameter in this table will be ignored. If you want to hide the drop parameters, since these are not important, you can click on Hide All Drop. The list of hidden column will be displayed at the bottom. To see them again, press Show All. If you want to copy your default limit and use directly in the table, you can use default parameters or use default raw materials to bring the default value. To check the default value, you can go to Database and click on Default Limit. Here you can check your default limits and modify if required. After modification, you can save from the button. To make the change effective in Set Limit page, you need to reload the Set Limit page once. I will use Set Default Parameter here to select default parameters. This will copy the default limit here and hide all the drop items as shown below. To view all the columns, you can click on this. If you want to modify any limit, you can do so. I will modify this limit here. If you have entered the limit wrongly, such as lower limit is higher than upper limit, it will show error message and calculation button will be deactivated. We will use the default parameters simply by clicking on this. Now, we will optimize the price. For the other parameters, you can see the parameters for Fuel 1 and Fuel 2. The limit is simply 0 to 100. Let us calculate. This will take few seconds to get the result. Once optimization is complete, you to be redirected to result page. It has been able to successfully optimized and total saving is given here. In the results section, you will see a message area where the summary result and diagnosis report will appear. Below this, the optimization result will appear. First row is for present raw mix and second row is optimized raw mix. Also note, earlier Fuel 1 was 50% and Fuel 2 was 50%. After optimization, Fuel 1 is 100% and Fuel 2 is 0%. The percentage of other raw materials has also changed accordingly to achieve this. In many cases, we want the raw mill to remain the same, but the fuel composition to be adjusted to achieve this at a minimum cost. Let us set this option to yes, then save and calculate. Now we'll try to optimize the raw mix by modifying the fuel percentage only. The raw meal will be fixed. You can see that the optimization is not successful because the liquid phase condition is not satisfied. This is because by optimizing only fuel, we can't achieve all the parameters. Let us change the limit of liquid. Currently, our liquid percentage is 30.63%. So, we will change the lower limit to 30.2 to check if it can find some solution. Now we will calculate again. Let's check the result. Now, the optimization is successful, and you can see that the raw materials present condition and the optimized condition are the same, but the cost has been reduced by 67 rupees. The raw materials have changed, suggesting 100% Fuel 1 instead of 50% each. Here you can find few options, which will make your life easy. If you want to save the optimized raw mix in database, click on Click to Save. This will redirect to database with the optimized data. You can scroll down and check for error, and save in the database. If you want to compare present raw mix and optimize raw mix, click on Click to Compare Details. This will redirect you to the Compare Mix module, where you can compare both the raw mix with respect to raw meal, kiln fee, and clinker. You can also export the result table in Excel. Finally, you can save entire calculation as log with a name. Just put a name in remarks and save it. This will be saved in log. Later on, you can see the name in drop-down menu of View Log. From this drop-down menu, select and log and click on View. You can see the setting, raw materials, limit, and result everything as it was during the calculation. This process may look a little complex since I have explained all the functions while doing the calculation, but actual process is only two-step simple process. And it takes hardly 30 seconds to design any raw mix. I will recommend you to try a few examples on your own. I hope you understand how to fuel using CemcalPro. If you have any questions, you can write to me at support@CemcalPro.com. See you in next tutorial, where I will show you how to predict cost of unknown raw materials. Thank you very much.